Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am the captain of the OPAS Legitimate Salvage. You can just call me Steve. Don't call me Steve. I'm Steven Stark. With me, as always, my executive officer Nessie, the king of all media, John.
Okay, good. I was about to say I'm chopped liver.
No.
But yeah, okay.
We've got Alicia Kingston, mission specialist for this conversation about the last 4 episodes of The Expanse.
Hello. Sorry, I'm off camera. My hairstylist is doing things on my head. Y'all don't want to see that.
We'll take you however we can get you, buddy.
Oh, I don't even...
We will possibly be joined by a couple others soon. People who are parents and don't always get to choose how their time is spent exactly. But hopefully Mary and or Bernie will be joining us shortly.
I'll just chat up.
Bro, did you lock?
Oh yeah. So the last 4 episodes of The Expanse.
What?
Where do we start? You know what? I know
nothing much happened.
Let me just say,
it took a bit to get the action together, didn't it?
There's something here, okay?
You know,
you call it the last 4 episodes of The Expanse, and I call it the Naomi story.
See, that's where I was going to start. I was going to say the name
Nagata.
Dominique Tipper, actually, but Naomi Nagata works just as well.
Give her an Emmy.
Dear God, did she bring it? Especially these last 4 episodes. Just, gosh, she was so good.
For barely having any actual lines throughout all of those episodes, I had no problem feeling every bit of pain, literally sitting at my desk on the edge of my seat like, oh my God, no, please come rescue my girl. She cannot die like this. This is impossible. No, Naomi does not die. Somebody come get her.
Yeah, Naomi ain't going out like this.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, from her hard vacuum.
I was so stressed.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that, like, during that last, jump, if you will, not to jump, to the last episode, but I was actually really worried that she wouldn't come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I had a second to think about it, I would have realized that, okay, she's probably going to get rescued. But, like, in the moment of watching it, I was like, oh, shit, this could be it.
Yeah.
There was a point in that where they showed the Razorback skimming by and they went right past her. By chance, Bobby happened to catch it in time. Oh my God.
Yeah. And only because of where she was positioned with the drive lighting it up. So she was visible.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby was like, if she hadn't have been there, I wouldn't.
Thank goodness Bobby had the eye that she did.
Keen eye Bobby.
Yep.
Gunny.
But like from her hard vacuum transit all the way through figuring out what's going on with the Chetmoka to just the fight she had to fight to get a makeshift wrench. And then it just shows how determined she is, how brilliant she is.
Yeah. It was just
because the rest of us would have all just died on the Chetmoka if we made it that far.
I wouldn't have even made it that far. I would have found a way to take myself out on the ship and not even had to go into the airlock.
Yeah. So
Naomi is a brave soul, man. That's all I can say. She's a little scrapper.
So
yeah, anybody from now on who says, "Oh yeah, that's Naomi. She's just the fluff on the show or what? She's smart. Yeah, she's smart, but so and so's got the action. So and so's they're the bigger anyway. Screw them.
Yeah, there's no underestimating Lady Nagata.
I mean,
Cecilia says Bobby's the best. You are not wrong, but
Bobby is bae.
And I know Cecilia just finished catching up like today. She only started watching the show a few weeks ago on the recommendation of this channel. So we're happy to have you all caught up. And
I mean, do we spread the good news about The Expanse?
That's what we do here. But I will say, like, in these 4 episodes, nobody gets close to what Dominique Tipper does here. I mean,
not even a little.
And that's not to say that everybody else isn't great, because they are. But the only person
she's the MVP.
She's the MVP. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I'd give an honorable mention to Wes Chatham, but that might just be the nature of what he's doing and what his character is being put through. Like, I really enjoyed the Amos and Peaches stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like, as far as like acting challenges and all that, I'll give that to Dominique Tipper for these episodes, but I got to admit, I'm partial to the Amos storyline, especially for these final 4 episodes, because I think especially that entire sequence in 9 is one of my favorite bits of the show. Like,
talking about the
long stretch shot.
Yeah, especially because here's the thing. Also, and I'm a little bit biased in this regard, and yeah, this is just gonna be me bragging for a second. I'm sorry, but it's gonna be part of it. Where what I was able to watch it on kind of influences my opinion of this. And be quiet, Nessie. It's like because I did just get this really nice new television which has 4K and HDR, and let me tell you something. Watching that sequence at night, it was like living it. And in so 4K, with all the because the HDR just makes like it highlights like the brightness and the dark areas. So when all that gunfire was going off and those flashlights like whizzing by, it's like you're blinded like through half the sequence, and it just felt really intense and like you were in the thick of it. And so by the time that sequence was over, I was out of breath. So I think that was kind of a highlight for me for these episodes. And so, yeah, I mean, I have to say that kind of took the cake for me. But as far as performances go, without a doubt, Dominique Tipper like owned these episodes.
And I'm going to give a shout out, a second honorable mention, whatever. You loved Amos in this arc. You got to give a shout out to Kara G and company. Yeah. I mean, what Naomi is going through, they are also going through a lot of similar things. You know, their loyalty and their love for their family and trying to keep a family member safe who's in the hands of a freaking megalomaniac, and you know, heartbreak and loss. And it's 2 families, man. It's we're talking about 2 families and how they're dealing with these and these difficult and terrible situations.
Well, like, that's been a theme this whole season, is family. Alex is trying to reconnect with his family on Mars. Yeah. Amos is trying to come to grips with the death of the only family he really felt like he had, and discovering what his Rossi family means to them. Naomi trying to get, you know, the challenge with her son, and also coming to realize that her found family is where her real love lies. Same with Holden. You know, Avasarala has family. You know, she's dealing with the fact that her husband has died and she will never get to reconcile with him. So the importance of family, and not just blood family, but also your found family, is a huge theme throughout the whole season.
Yeah, where Avasarala is concerned, I think that hit me mostly because they were both in that same train of thought. Like her daughter said, you know, he always asks about you, how you're doing, and everything. And she's also thinking the same thing, but it's Avasarala. You know, mom don't crack that easily. You know, she can't show that all the time until it gets down to this dire position and she realizes she's lost him. And just, you could see that grief played out across her emotions, just looking in her eyes. And it's fabulous.
I heard Haynes headed our way.
There's somebody adrift and we need to pick them up and bring them aboard.
Oh, get the airlock.
The Burninator. How you doing, Bernie? It's
good.
Been a minute.
You're gonna space me already, huh?
No, somebody else spaced you. We picked you up.
We got you, baby.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it.
You were
good looking at.
You're a ride or die.
All right. So what are we talking about?
We're just still like in the general like heaping praise on the actors for their individual portrayals. We've talked about Naomi, Amos, and Drummer so far as characters that kind of stood out for us in these past 4 episodes.
All right,
You have anything
cool.
to say on that, or another character you'd like to mention?
No, it was the Naomi season for sure. I mean, it was, you know, she went through a lot.
A lot.
It was an emotional roller coaster. Yeah.
Man, it hurt my soul every time to see her just torturing herself over and over and over again. And knowing every time she goes out, a little bit more air goes with it. She's only got a certain, you know, just enough, you know, she knows how much air she has, you know.
She knows how much air she has because she did all the math herself, though.
She did it in her head. Like, Naomi is ridiculous smart, and the way she played all of that. Like, I know you've asked me before, like, who my number 1 character was when we were doing the Karagi talk, and I told you it was Bobby, but it kind of fluctuates between Bobby and Naomi because I can't choose between the greatness of the greatness. It's impossible. Well, that little bit of water that Naomi had to go and mine. Losing that much air every time having to go out there, doing the thing with the pipe to throw the ship, you know, into a different trajectory to make sure she's noticed a little bit. Just all those things.
The spin, the spin. So they couldn't. So they
and
couldn't
she's
save her.
losing more and more air every time. She's weaker and weaker. Sometimes getting back and just collapsing and passing out because there's that little air over there for her to deal with. It's great performance by Dominique Zipper, man. She deserves like all the awards for this season.
Well, before that, just dealing with her son too. I mean, just her whole arc this season was just painful, you know.
Nessie, I think you nailed it when you said it hurt your soul. I mean, that's kind of the way that could sum up the entire season for me. It just felt like such a, you know, enthralling to watch, but especially the sort of things that Naomi had to go through. It was just heartbreaking in every step of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna also I'm glad Steven put this up on the screen, and I agree. I'm giving an honorable mention to Timmy as well because they're seeing how him and Amos.
No.
You can see how they.
Amos is Timmy.
Timmy is Amos.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're thinking of Eric.
What's the voice? Eric. Thank you. My bad. Yeah, I like seeing their relationship because it's like it's like friends that don't see each other for years. And then they get back together and they automatically just pick up right where they left off, like all the way from having to get to Luna. And then in their talk afterward, it just screamed brotherhood, and they're probably never going to see each other again. But if they do, then they're just going to pick up right where they left off, you know?
One of my favorite exchanges of the whole season wasn't so much between them, but it was between Eric and Peaches, which was when they're sort of trading stories, and she says to him about Amos, should I ask? And he's like, I wouldn't. I thought that was hilarious.
That's real talk right there. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't ask about Timmy.
If I can break in for just a moment, we've been, we're 15 minutes into the stream, and I recognize that there is some sort of big cultural event happening in the United States today. And
no, there isn't.
There is a thing happening. Most of us don't really care much about it.
We don't.
Not at all.
So but we have plenty of people here watching. So I want to give a shout out to the real G's in the chat who are here watching this instead of watching some superb owl.
Nothing superb about it.
Right.
Inside joke.
Lady Leaf Underhill, Leaf, she's here every week. We love you, Leaf. Jess Britvek, Geek Sterilia, aka Cecilia. She's been on the channel a few times. We did a first three season discussion of the Expanse on her channel just a couple of weeks ago. It was a good time. Kate Bertinsky, hey Kate. Danny McKay in the house. Ridiculous Ed Tollett. Sean, my man, how you doing, buddy? Mom, aka Mother, Betsy, Mother of Starks. That's my real life mom. I guess most of y'all know that.
I just want to say it's really great to see Courtney in the chat. I haven't seen her in a while.
Down yet, but yes, it is nice to see Courtney. I haven't seen you in a minute. Kraken Tacos in the hizzy. What's up, my man? Who else? Anna Iglesias is here. I think I said Danny McKay, but if not, hey, Danny McKay. Powder is in the house, and like, what really kills me is that Powder popped up, and his first post was not like a shit post. You know, so congratulations, man. I really appreciate it.
I mean, it kind of was.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't quite agree with that statement, but I do see the skill, though. Yeah, Keon's a good actor.
Yeah, he nailed the role. I think that's the good takeaway. Who else is in the chat? And Jaded Redhead, Wheezy Squeeze Box.
Squeezy.
That might be everybody. Courtney Mazza, there you are. I think I've almost caught up to the current. I just scrolled all the way to the top and started scrolling down. I think that's everybody, but yeah. It's also 4:20 somewhere, so, you know, do your thing. And yeah, all right. But I agree with Potter. I thought Inaros was a fascinating character to watch, at least.
Okay.
I mean, he's not somebody you want to go hang out, you know, at a bar with or what have you, or talk, you know, talk.
Just wanted to smack the shit out of him.
Yeah, I mean, he
a compelling and well-written character.
He is a compelling villain. He is definitely a compelling villain. Like, I love the way Keon played him. I have to say I don't like his manipulations towards his son, but then that again still just plays into how good of an actor Keon is in portraying all of that, because that's exactly how you're supposed to feel about Marcos. You're not supposed to like him.
Yeah, he's a creepy groomer. Like he nailed that.
Yeah,
I mean, that.
Well, somebody in the chat said he's the villain you love to hate. I don't really love to hate him. I just hate him. So, yeah.
I will agree with that sentiment, John. Yes.
No.
And it was really great too that they got Marisol Adler to direct those episodes where you are seeing the relationship, the manipulative, narcissistic, toxic relationship that between Marco and Naomi. Any person who's ever been in an abusive, mentally demeaning, just someone who's just constantly gaslighting you all the time. And, you know, it was kind of triggering, you know, to watch that relationship because, you know, it was so real. It was so very, very real. Because that's how these people operate.
Yeah, he's an emotional abuser. He's all the types of the abusers. Yeah, he was really kind of like creepy. Like he played that off good. But if I saw him on the street, I don't know if I'd be scared of him. Like he wasn't like a big tough guy. When he was walking around the ship, I was always kind of like, he's not all that, but he just has that, you know, evil thing about him. So that like worked. I wasn't always sold on his acting because I thought he was kind of a scenery chewer at times, but I think it was perfect because he was the villain, you know what I mean? And he had to kind of come across a certain way. So that's really hard to do. But yeah, he was just a nasty, nasty guy, man.
Yeah, that's why I love him.
I mean, if you know narcissistic gaslighter, he really nailed that role. I mean, if you know anyone who is a narcissistic, megalomaniac gaslighter who, you know, has their own little followers.
We know a bunch of them.
I'll say no names, but I'll just go.
Things that make you go.
No, there are people. I mean, there are people like this everywhere.
Never mind.
There's people like this everywhere, and
seeing Naomi get under his
run
every time was some of the best scenes for me.
Yeah, she's still. Yeah,
she knew exactly how. Anytime he was actually unnerved, I was very happy.
I got him so many times.
How do you pronounce? I say Inaros, I think, because I'm a New Yorker, but Naomi
pronounced it
Inaros.
Inaros?
Well, yeah, but Naomi pronounced it Inaros, and Avasarella says Inaros. So I was kind of like,
Naomi does have a weird Belter accent too, though.
Yeah. I like Inaros. It just sounds more evil.
Yeah, like a little mustache twirling.
I just have to say that
with that, Danny. I hope it's Drummer that does it too.
I just say, like, the most emotional part of the season for me really was seeing Drummer just lose it after she's told that Naomi is dead. Just the way she screams out, it broke my heart.
Have you guys all rewatched the season or only once through?
I've rewatched the episodes each time we've come to do a stream, so I rewatched the last 4 episodes today.
This is my main complaint of why I like when they just do the whole dump of the whole season, because this type of show has so much information coming at you. The first episode, when I rewatched it last night, made me understand the last episode so much more, because there was so much stuff about the last episode in the first episode. So I kind of, like, after week after week after week, I kind of was forgetting what the hell was going on. Now I feel like I got a good grasp of it, but I kind of wish that they had dumped the whole season at once just to binge it, because it's one of those shows that has so much information coming at you, and there's so much to watch, and you're watching other shit, and but if you were a little bit confused about the last episode, I definitely recommend going back and watching that first episode again, because it definitely has a lot in there about, what was happening at the end.
Oh, I want to point out, Cecilia says that, speaking of Latinos, we need main Latino characters. You're not wrong. However, I think that Bull will become a main cast member and the future pilot of the Rocinante, and that actor is, I can't remember his name, something Zuniga, maybe. I know that he is Honduran, so there is a Latino main character on board the Rocinante right now.
I was unsure about him. I didn't know if he was going to throw a wrench in, but I like him now. He's a good addition, I wasn't sure of his intentions and if he was gonna turn on Holden, but he came around, homie. Hopefully, he still does that.
Yeah, I really liked that at the beginning of the season. I was suspicious of him, and he turned out to be a pretty good guy with some, racist inclinations, as we've seen. But he's getting, he's told by Holden, cut that shit out, and he's like, all right. So,
yeah,
but
yeah, he made himself very comfortable in that pilot seat. I mean, he's drinking out of the man's coffee cup. That's a crime in some places.
I'm gonna do a shot for watch out, John, for Alex's character, even though we don't want to really get into all that.
We're here to talk about a TV show.
Yep. And we are going to miss him. And even though they didn't really do that great of a job, I think they're going to mourn him next season as well. But here's to Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to be missing.
Yeah. I'll just get this out now.
Yeah,
I'm not happy about it. There's nothing they could do about it. They probably did about as good a job as they could under the circumstances, but I'm pissed off. Alex was my main man. From season 1, Miller was my favorite character, but Alex was always right there as number 2 for me. And And I'm just, it's sad that we, I feel, didn't get the ending to the character that was probably planned originally. The saving grace is that we do have the books, which I haven't read yet. So I feel like in that way I'll get to see where Alex was headed, through there maybe. But that part of the reason why I was I'm glad I watched the episodes again, because I was really a bit let down after the finale, just because, I've loved this character from day one, and I just felt like it wasn't an ending that really, did him justice. But it is what it is. As I said, I think they had very limited options. So, but yeah. I'm glad that at least within the larger sense of the storytelling, he went out a hero. So that's something. But
he went out a hero with the kick-ass last line. Also, yeah. I think that was very fitting for Alex. It was one hell of a ride.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of how it all played out either, but I'm also of the mind, that there really wasn't anything else that they could do. Like,
it wasn't.
The actor backed them into a corner, and they didn't react immediately. They had a month-long investigation into the things that were said about him, and then fired him. So they did their due diligence. And I think from a sort of storytelling utility standpoint, it is also useful because we hear these high G burns are dangerous. And people go through them all the time, and nobody ever suffers any real consequences from them.
Which I think would have been a brilliant thing to do. It's just, unfortunately, I think it ended up being done in sort of a unsatisfactory way. So I like the overall idea of what they went with. I just knew too much about the behind the scenes, what was going on, and it just I could feel the editing work being done around the whole thing.
It was kind of a double thing, because there's another character that was actually supposed to have that death, but they gave it to Alex.
It's a book spoiler. We won't go there. I know it, but like for the sake of people who aren't reading the books and might just know that death actually does happen to someone, but not Alex.
But not Alex, yeah.
Who's actually now dead in the show.
I think we're having some.
So
we have echoes. We have all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah, we're having somebody pick up echoes. Okay.
I hope it's not me. But it might be. Heck, you never know.
There was some static before, but I didn't know if it was me or I don't know. There's always something.
Well,
it's fine now.
Well, I moved my microphone. It might have been me. Nessie's muted. AK's muted. Who knows? We'll just keep. If it pops up again, we'll try something else.
Yeah. Okay,
so looking at this, one of the things that really. How many people Googled how long can you survive in space after watching episode 7?
Oh, I absolutely did.
I absolutely looked into it.
I should have, but I didn't. Normally I do, but I didn't.
Because I was actually quite worried, because you guys are always going on and on about I can hear myself again. You guys are always going on and on about how true to science this show is, and that it made me question. I'm like, did the show just jump the shark? I hope it didn't. But apparently there's science behind it. So
yeah, and like it would have been really hard. I don't think she would have made it without their sort of MacGuffin that they gave her, that hyper oxygenated blood. But they established that earlier in the season, obviously, for literally so that this scene would make more sense.
But why did Sin die like immediately and she was able to go? Like,
Sin had air in his lungs.
Yeah.
That's why she took that deep breath and she breathed out. Because if she would have kept that air in, then it would have froze and she would have died automatically, just like Sin did.
Her lungs would have collapsed. That is what would have happened.
Right.
By collapsing her lungs, she was, I'm sorry, respiratory therapist here, it's my job. No.
Go off.
Yeah, I'm just saying, no, because she partially collapsed her lungs by expelling all the air that she could. It kept her alveoli from collapsing so that they could re-expand without having them pop, so to speak, burst. So
I'm
she
sorry,
probably has
Nessie.
one
I don't
damage,
mean to-
but she made it.
I don't mean to interrupt, but John and I were trying to get rid of the same comment at the same time. We kept clicking it off and on and off and on. It was quite fun. We had our own little game going for a minute.
Yeah, well, it's powder, so yeah, they jumped the void.
Right.
But I think they were talking about that in one of the after shows.
Yeah. Speaking of which, if you guys haven't watched the after shows in the chat room, go watch the after shows. They're pretty fun.
The Ty and That Guy podcast,
which they're continuing. They're going back. And
they're going to go back
show.
to season 1. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh,
and also, I didn't
so
know Ty Franks was also one of the writers of the books. I didn't find that out till this after show.
Oh wow!
I think
okay, yeah.
He developed
Daniel Abraham or James S.A. Corey.
Yeah. So go watch that. I'm gonna subscribe.
I liked
yeah, definitely.
Avasarala didn't over curse like last season. I felt like they were trying to get her to curse too much and it was a little forced. And she did curse this season, but it wasn't so like in your face, So I'm glad they kind of toned that down.
No, I want that. I want more of that shit.
But I
think Avasarala is one of the realest characters on the show. She tells it like it is and does not give any fucks if you don't or not. And I appreciate seeing that.
Yeah.
So I don't mind when she curses. I chuckle and just be like, okay, that's all. That's just what she do.
She just did a lot more last season. And then there was like flirting going on with her and Amos. I was like, oh, Amos wants some of that.
Oh, Amos. I mean
behind the scenes too.
No.
When I was watching that after show, I was like, it's there, guys. It's there.
Yeah.
Hey.
Amos
I'm just
down.
saying, if it was on me, I wouldn't say no.
Read the churn.
Amos
likes a lady with some experience.
I heard about some weird stuff in there. I was like, oh, I don't know if I would.
That's why at the beginning of the season, to call that line back when they're talking in her office. And she's like, what do you think I am? Just like some showgirl or something somewhere. And he was like, well, you could be both. Right. and he was all serious. Like, yeah, you could be my showgirl. Go on, give me a lap dance right now. We can do this.
Yeah. Well, the whole Lydia relationship was a little bit different than, what they showed on the show. Yeah, I'm glad they kept it the way they did. Because that would be just too much. Go read it if you want to know.
Her husband's dead now. It could actually work.
I'm almost like, is he dead though? Like if I don't see a body, I'm always like, is he dead? But I'm sure he's dead. That character, they just wanted to do away with him from the beginning. So he's like out of their hair now. But I guess who knows? Maybe he'll show up. I don't know. Everyone's being real quiet now.
No, I'm just thinking of the next thing to bring up. There's so much meat on this bone just from.
Yeah, we always go on tangents. We don't go in order.
Yeah.
Whatever's in your head, Steven, we got it.
See, that's always been the way.
We were talking about Googling how long he could survive in space, and I felt like the show did a great job. Like, I don't ever want to go to space. I have no. It seems like too much like camping. It's tough, just everything you do, you got to think about so much harder, the consequences of, or if something can go wrong so much quicker. And I think the sound editing and the visual effects and just, they really made you feel like you were in space. And I thought that was real. They did a really good job this year on that. They upped the bar.
I got to echo what John said too. If you have the opportunity to watch The Expanse on a 4K television, take it because it's worth it. The visuals are just so great.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a gripe. Okay. I have a gripe.
Do you do that with The Expanse, Steve?
Yeah, I do. There were a couple of things that happened this season that I went, Now, don't get me wrong. This show is still like in the 98th percentile to perfect. But I had a couple of issues. And of course, they're going to be like military strategy stuff. So, look, how important?
All three of you just were like, "Oh, damn!" Here
how important is the Soul Ring? how important is the ring?
I mean, it's the gateway to everything.
So
Yeah.
why are there
Sure.
3 ships guarding it?
Only 3 ships. Yeah.
And here's I have a bitch about that
They
too.
didn't plan for the worst.
Why is it that okay, we're gonna jump to the last, to like the very freaking end, when they are attacking the attack on the Soul Gate happens, and the missiles are coming from within the ring. Okay, where in season 3, if you are firing weapons within the ring system, it does that freaky shit and stops everything. So how come they're able to fire weapons now when they couldn't fire them before?
That was my question too, because at every stage, no matter how many ships were in there or who was in quote unquote control, if the ring sensed some shit happening that it didn't like, it stopped it. So what's going down now?
I can get around that with this. The speed limit was lifted, and the only weapons fired from within the gate were missiles, and you can easily program those to not break the old speed limit so it doesn't re-engage. I can live with that.
It would still check up on weapons differently, though, wouldn't it? If they were in there fighting, it just doesn't seem to fit.
They didn't fight inside the ring. Oh, wait a minute. They did in season 4. They did. You're right.
I don't know. It seems like it's a small thing that they forgot about, I think.
Yeah, Nessie. Now that's going to bother me.
That was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, wait a second, why are they firing out of the ring at the ships? That's supposed to stop things from happening. Kind of like why it's like the neutral zone. Nobody, it's this negative zone. Nobody can fire on anybody else in there or bad shit happens. So
you might have to go back to the end of season 3 and watch that and see what happened when they kind of opened up and allowed people to pass. I don't know. I don't remember that stuff well enough to.
Maybe there's just no more speed limit, like Courtney says.
Yeah, but it did not like weapons being fired as well. It sent a threat.
Once it realizes that the nucleus wasn't being directly threatened, and it released it, and and nothing going on since then has led them to believe that that a threat does exist. So I don't know. I don't have to stretch that far to make it make sense in my mind.
So Stephen, you're saying they let their guard down. They're kind of more lackadaisical about what goes on. Yeah,
or the proto-molecule
or maybe
whatever.
Maybe they were busy somewhere else doing something else. There was that ship at the end.
Weird. Mars has apparently quote lost so many ships to their encounters with Inaros, right? Lost all these ships, which we know what happened to them. So like the Martian Navy is like downsized significantly. Earth ships are spread thin, really thin. Is that the issue? Like so many of them are tracking the Inaros in the like the mid system. And then this is way out at the gate. I guess they figured who's gonna shoot us way out here? I don't know. We'd see them coming, right? No, you idiot.
No,
you didn't get the memo. That stealth technology got them in the butt again.
Yeah.
You would think they would have planned for that.
Like, those watchtowers or whatever that they've had pointed at Mars all these years, that they have pointed at the asteroids, from Earth. How about 1 or 2? Just,
3 ships. You need more than 3 ships guarding such a big space.
That's where I'm at. Like, I understand things are spread thin and all of that, and the ring is way out at the edge of the system, but from early in the season, Admiral Sauveterre talks about the asymmetric strategic importance of the ring space itself, and how important, what a force multiplier it is to control the interior of the ring space, which that's like maybe the other gripe I have is that the guy who's pointing this out goes, okay, Marco Inaros, let's give you control of the ring space, even though I'm the one that made a point earlier in the season how critically important it was to control it.
It's what is that what they call like a pinch point?
Yeah.
Or
a bottleneck.
Point.
Yeah. Force multiplier, like you're saying.
Marcos was like, this is a one-way ticket. You go in and then work and you try to come back out. There could be problems. I think that's what they were trying to say. Like, we'll guard this side, you guard that side, you know. It kind of seemed that way to me, you know. And Marco, I feel like Marco is, you know, double-crossing him as well. I don't, you know, trust the thing that guy does. So I'm sure there'll be problems there in the future. One season left to go, but maybe some movies.
I know he's telling the Martian guy, "You have your space and we have ours." It's like, if you actually believe that, you're a dumbass.
From either side.
Yeah. I think Marcus is overly ambitious when it comes to the ring, because you might have a huge station set up there like Medina Station. You might have that one thing there, but is that really going to be enough if your people are in control of that to rule all of those gates? It's impossible. Yeah. It's impossible. That those are whole ass worlds that this guy really thinks that are going to be under his thumb. No, sir, that is not how it works.
1,500 gates.
Like, come on now. What were you even thinking? Well, you know, 1 or 2, maybe even 3. Okay, I'll give you that. You might be able to guard that. But the rest of them, you really think you're going to be able to keep people away from all of them?
Yeah. So
even holding that choke point that the Martian guy was talking about, it's an impossibility.
Nessie, maybe that you know, we're talking about shooting through the ring. Maybe, you know, those orange entities, I don't know what the hell to call them, you know, the builders and their enemies. Once that protomolecule went through,
which it
did, that might have scared some the builders away from guarding the gates a little bit, maybe, because, you know, obviously Salvatore and Babbage met their end, I guess, at you know, because of
we saw what happened at the end. You know, I was sitting there stuck like, what fresh hell is this happening right now?
Yeah, I was like, are they really ending on a freeze frame?
I was stuck looking at the screen like, what the hell is happening right now? Wait, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Well, that goes right back to the simulation that Holden showed to Fred at the beginning of the season.
That LV showed them. That, and also Holden said that, you know, every time those things jump in my head and I look at them, they look like they're getting madder and madder, that we're here using these things and we need to not be doing that.
Yeah.
And I think these guys have had the final straw, and next season, I don't think anybody's going to really care that much about Marcus, because it's going to be these guys coming out of the woodwork to kill some shit that they thought they killed already.
I hope they get rid of Marcos real quick next season. I mean, I had like issues with the pacing of this because I felt like normally so much stuff is happening. There was a lot of stuff, like setting up a lot of stuff. But normally there's a lot more action and more, you know, but I hope next season they get right to getting rid of that asshole and then fighting the real problem, because, you know, with the grand scheme of things, he's nothing compared to whatever those orange things are, and the
very true.
The blue and orange, the New York Mets.
They're gonna show that instance of Philip actually leaving before they kill him off, though. They have to finish playing that out, and you can see it on Philip's face that he's playing it well, because his dad doesn't seem to be noticing. No. But there's a definite change there, and he's really starting to see all the things that Naomi was talking about now.
Right? Yeah. I mean, he sees his dad. His dad, when he's getting when things go great, when they're shouting his name, you know, there's something they win. Marcos, Naros, you know. They shout his name. He's just like, oh, I'm taking it all in. You see his eyes are just like, it's like a drug to him. And then you cut
the scene. What a dick.
Cut the scene over to see his son's face, and he's just like, This motherfucker.
Ugh.
Yeah, this motherfucker. When something goes wrong, it's always Philip, you messed up. Philip, you messed this up.
You know what? I got a gripe now. Actually, now I just remembered. When Naomi escaped and Marcos went in there to talk to Philip, the way they're talking, again, this is Marcos manipulation, but how you can't see what actually is Philip, I don't understand. Your mom didn't want to, just leave you. She was a fucking prisoner and she was escaping her prison. What do you mean you're mad that she left you again?
Yeah,
this wasn't some great family reunion. What life were you living?
Didn't he just backhand the crap out of her last time he saw her?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I can't believe it. What the hell do you mean? I'm surprised she didn't take all of you out with her before she left. That form of logic and how all that worked out. And I know it's because of manipulative Marcos. I just still don't buy that. I'm sorry. That's absurd.
I get it if you're coming off of a lifetime of manipulation and you to the point where you can't even see how much you're being manipulated. And I feel that's where Philip is. It doesn't make me, happy about his actions or decisions, but I do understand it. And I went into this season thinking I was just going to hate his character completely, but I actually do understand him and sort of feel sympathy for where he's coming from, if not for, the conclusions that he comes to. So
I like how he has the same, I don't know, it might work with like different tribes or whatever, but he has the same tattoo on his neck as his mother. Mm-hmm. Is that like a family?
And he's also a techie like her.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of his mom in him.
They could not have cast a better person between the two of them.
He looks like he could be their kid. Yeah, they did a great job finding him.
I would suggest that tattoo is a Palace Station tattoo. Because
that's where their roots are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very good. All right, good to know.
Or that could have been like the old faction, because Naomi was part of that faction.
Started out, yeah.
Good point.
Started out. They all had that original, faction tattoo, and now Inaros has taken it over. So, yeah, could be that. But yeah, definitely Palace roots.
I almost didn't recognize what was his name, Kodazar, the guy that was making.
God. I had to watch that scene twice. Go ahead.
Yeah, the buzz cut.
And he looked like.
Oh my God! And that psycho is so happy, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do exactly what he wants to do.
He's only happy when he's doing the work. So he's too happy for my
cuckoo.
I know. I mean, when I saw that message pop up right at the end, I was like, what the F? I mean, we've seen like images of him before on like cameras, and then, here he is. What's he got? What's going on? What's going to happen?
He looks much healthier though. That's why I didn't recognize him. I was like, who is this dude? And then I was like, oh, that's that guy from last season. Was it last season he was in? Season 4 or was it season 3? I can't even remember. But anyway, he's gained a little bit of weight. He looks healthy, and I think
it was season 2. Yeah, season 2.
Season 2. Wow.
He's been out for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than a couple of
scenes,
I think he was on a video, like a video.
They caught him on
season 3 or something like that. But yeah.
But well, I mean, he may be, because he was being pumped full of those drugs and whatnot when he was working for Protogen to like make him, sociopath or whatever. So maybe he's off all those drugs now, but still he's on the side of the Laconians. Yeah, we can say that word. It dropped.
Laconians. How many people are there? How many Martians are there? Do you know offhand? Like how many were
several
able to...
ships, so I would say at least a few hundred at the very least.
Yeah. Wow.
No, it
should be interesting.
Laconia
They
Station.
could survive, but with them using the proto-molecule that they are, they just put a target on their backs, and they don't even know it yet.
So do you think that was the last proto-molecule is on Laconia, or that weird ship thing we saw was the sample? Or are there two samples?
Okay, so
there was only one left.
I'm pretty sure what we saw, like in the end credits scene of the final episode, was an artifact left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fresh protomolecule sample coming from Earth is probably waking it up the same way it worked on Ilith.
Okay.
And I also wanted to say, in fact, Laconia is a region in Greece. And can anybody guess what city-state was the...
This
is it Pompeii?
It is.
I didn't hear Nessie or cut out.
It's Sparta.
Oh,
Spartans!
Yeah, so Laconians are Spartans, if you will, and it makes a super lot of sense for the hyper-militarist group from Mars to want to associate with Sparta.
Not only hyper-militarist, but they want to take it even steps higher than the military of what Mars is now. And I don't know how you really do that, because they're already so regimented. It's absurd.
Hold on a second. I don't think Nessie's audio is coming through.
I wasn't saying anything?
Well, you were moving your mouth before, and it seemed like your audio wasn't coming through. But, yeah, okay. All right. I guess we're fine.
I actually just thought of another gripe that I had. It was kind of cool to see, but Drummer didn't get the final blow on Corral like I really wanted her to. But either the same, Corral was neutralized, and I don't have to deal with her ridiculousness anymore.
Yeah.
So happy, but still mad it wasn't Carmina that did it.
Yeah, she didn't suffer enough. Not at all.
No, she didn't. No, she did not. I wanted to see Drummer seriously all in the grill. Just don't even recognize her face anymore. She deserved it.
Potter's got a great observation here. Laconia is a town in New Hampshire, and it is on the shores of Lake Winnipesaukee.
I was just Googling Laconia and New Hampshire. Oh my God. And because I thought that there was a crazy racetrack back in the day, if I could remember, that used to be like, no holds barred. Like you go there, if you were a woman, you don't go there alone. Like it was like crazy, wild redneck times. So that's funny that he just Googled it. I was like, wait a minute, that name is so familiar. I don't even think they call it that anymore because it got such a bad reputation. Like it was, a shit show and not safe and just crazy times. But I wonder if they're from New Hampshire. Any of the writers, where are they from? Someone should know that, right? Nope. Come on.
Nope. I mean,
I'll Google that next.
I want to say New Mexico.
Yeah, they live in New Mexico now.
All our authors live in New Mexico, huh?
Yeah. And let's see, Tide. Where did Tide move there from somewhere? Who knows? Maybe they went to summer camp in Lake Winnipesaukee.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway, sorry, we went off on a side journey there. But there's another thing that kind of bothered me, that Eric, when you went into his office, he had a pool table of motorcycles, and I'm like, what kind of one-armed man can ride a motorcycle or play pool? Why?
That's ableist.
I mean,
it is a label.
It can be done.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm sure, as rich as he is, he probably has random mechanisms he could hook up to help with his stability on a motorcycle. Stop it.
I was late because of my son with autism was just sitting right here. Like he was like, okay, when are we going on? I was like, you gotta go. So I'm like, I know I'm being ableist, but I got a little bit of an excuse. I'm really not. I understand it all, but it just kind of was like, maybe it's the things that he, wants to do. Maybe he just wants to look at them and he can have those nice, they were nice motorcycles. I mean, I think one was an Indian, and in that time, like having one of those is.
Well, it had a suicide system. It would have a suicide so he could shift and ride. He could do it.
I guess, yeah, with one hand, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm really glad we got to the bottom of this.
Goodness.
You got no, seriously.
But too, I think too there are a lot of it was everything in his compound was a status symbol. It was a mark of power and money and wealth that he had obtained. Little Eric, little one-armed Eric with the little whatever, just had his brain and that was it. And he was controlling all that, every bit of it. So
that was enough.
It was mostly for status symbol. Like, I mean, where would he drive it to? But
why would you even want to go outside in Boston? Like, did y'all see what Boston looked like? If I have a high rise like that, I am never leaving. You can deliver all of my stuff to me. I don't need to go outside. No, thank you.
I mean, and two,
actually, it's Baltimore. Sorry,
Baltimore. Sorry, I thought it was Boston. I got the bees mixed up.
Can you believe this?
Well, you're canceled.
Yeah. I didn't want to be that guy. Apparently, Steven was fine.
Hey, Amos is my favorite character.
Don't just leave me saying the wrong thing. You absolutely correct me if you hear something wrong, John. What are you talking about?
I'll keep that in mind for next week.
He's gonna go have me sitting up here saying Boston.
Boston.
Good old Charm City.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
So apparently that was.
Don't be a wicked pisser. All right. Park your car in Harvard Yard.
And I agree with Potter with the comment you just splashed up there, John.
I didn't.
Oh. Anyway, Nessie, I agree with Potter's comment. This actor, I don't know his name, but this actor that they cast for Eric. Hold on, I've got a list of the actors pulled up. The guy they cast as Eric was just inspired almost. His name is Jacob Mundell, and he was so good. Yes, he really, that's his real hand, his real arm. They didn't see anything. They went and found an actor who had the body difference that they were looking for, and he just killed it. He was one of my favorite things this season. Like, there's this part where they're all at the house at Lake Winnipesaukee.
I love to say that word too.
It's a good one. And these people come rolling up and they're like, "Hey, can you help us?" And he's like, "We can't help you, so fuck off." And it's just like, the way he delivered that just killed me, man.
Or when he said to Peaches, "I'm not fucking with her." Remind me not to fuck with her.
Which, by the way, was so brilliant. Going back to what I was saying earlier about that tracking shot, it's like where you don't even see anything. You just hear her, like, you know, doing her scream or something like off camera. And then it's like with the shaky cam, it comes around to her and there's just blood and stuff. And you know, the other one's like, she killed them with her parents. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna be mean to her anymore.
Yeah, remind me to be nice to her.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's brilliant.
Like they're alone in the console or whatever, and he Eric just be like, "Where did he find you?" You know, serving prison for multiple murders.
It was like, okay, let me fuck up right now.
Oh, but. And then when they're waiting for this shit to say to me, he's like, "Fuck this."
Yeah,
it's like, we're waiting for who? No, we were just in a shootout. We are leaving.
Yeah. So hey, y'all, we've been going for an hour. I want to run through the mid roll real quick. There's still a lot of meat on this bone to chew on, but you know, if you're here watching live, please hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. We stream every week, and we stream about different nerdy topics every week. And next week's nerdy topic will be the middle 3 episodes of WandaVision. I know, Nessie, you're probably not going to be here for that one.
It sucks, but
it
that's
sucks.
The price we pay.
But how would you like to do an I Know That Nerd with Nessie the week after that? Huh?
I mean,
Hey, chat, what do you think? Should I do And I Know That Nerd with Nessie, or you guys don't really care?
I was like, who are you talking to, Steven? You're the one who would be doing it.
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay, John, I'm glad I wasn't the only one sitting here
Who
confused.
would like to see that? Because that's what I think I would like to do. I've done And I Know That Nerd with John. Really got to get my first co-host in here, the OG.
The OG. Potter, you troll.
our Irish troll.
Our Nessie.
Our Nessie. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes, sure.
that's the plan right now. Next week, WandaVision episode 4, 5, 6. Week after that, I Know That Nerd right there.
Hi.
Speaking of that nerd right there, Nessie, what do you got coming up on your channel?
Okay. The 10th. Oh, the 10th is going to be so busy. Because I'm going to be having my Bleep the Patriarchy second episode's going to be coming out with my girl. Yeah, bleep it, y'all. If Aemy was here, that's what she'd say. Yeah, drink. We're going to be bleeping the binary. We've got a great guest coming on, Lo the Links. You might have seen some of their essays and whatnot on the on her WordPress. And that same day, because we're going to be streaming at, I believe, 2 o'clock. So it's going to be early for European time. That evening, I'm hopefully going to be recording an episode with Learn Hands podcast. And we are going to be talking Expanse. What?
Nice.
So looking forward to that. And
are you getting both Mary and Clint for that?
I assume so.
Nice.
Well, it's not on my channel. I'm going to be recording with them, so it's going to be released on as a Learn Hands episode. So look for that. Subscribe to Learn Hands if you're not, and if you aren't, what are you doing with your life? The 24th of February, back to the menagerie. We're going to be deep diving into the Phoenix, as we've the companion to all those dragon episodes, and the Jewel in the Crown is going to be late March, March 24th. Lady Gwen, yes, that Lady Gwen is going to be coming on the channel, and we're going to be talking all about the once and future Queen Guinevere. So stay tuned for all that.
Fantastic. Look forward to all of that stuff. John, we'll get through you real quick because I know AK's got something and we're saving the best for last. So John, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Wait, do I have something going on? Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, next week we're gonna have Jolie on the channel to talk about the film Selma. Well, that's our topic. We'll probably just goof off the whole time. And then on the 20th, we have somebody special who's going to be on, maybe someone who's in this chat right now. AK is going to be coming on the channel to talk about a movie which I have never seen before. It's a 1974 television film called The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. So we're looking forward to having her on for that. And that's it. I'm done.
Nice. So
what? I had John this time? What?
It happens every once in a while. So, AK, what you got going on?
The only thing that I have going on is hanging out with John and Aemy, and we're going to talk about Miss Jane Pittman. It's in loving memory of the great Cicely Tyson, because she played that role way back in the day, and she has just passed away recently. That's pretty much it. I have some theories about WandaVision that I was thinking about doing a vid for. That might happen. I don't know. I got some big red vibes, and I don't think it's the big red that everybody else is thinking about. I go off on tangents in my tinfoil, so that might happen. I don't know. Definitely gonna be tuning in for when you guys talk about WandaVision though, because that show is the shiz. And boy, after this last episode, I have thoughts also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might spat those thoughts in a video. That might be the only thing I have coming up. That's about it.
Well,
I'm kind of boring sometimes.
No, never boring. Just not always creating a lot of content, but never boring. I'd ask Bernie, but like Bernie,
She's still wrangling the kid.
Still wrangling the kid, I think. And I know Bernie doesn't really podcast or whatever. We're lucky to every once in a while twist her arm to get her to come on here.
To get her on screen, yeah.
But
it's a feat
happy to have her. Yes, she is a mother, and she doesn't always get to choose how to spend her time. Hopefully she'll be back once she fixes the comms. Okay, got to shout out the patrons. And I'm going to read them all this week. So our patrons are led by our High Council, and they are Lord John Bronsteen the Wise. You all know him as Bronte. Sixto Sounds, a.k.a. JP the Axe Grinder. And, of course, our alpha patron, Ridiculous Ed Tollett, who is probably in the chat listening.
He was earlier.
On his drive home from work. That's normally what he does. He's at work for the first hour listening, and then he's driving home for the second hour listening.
Oh, there he is.
We love you, buddy. And they are assisted by the lords and ladies of the there he is. They are the lords and ladies of the realm. Lady Leaf Underhill, and John's co-host over there on John Webster Film, Aemy Blackfyre, lover of polls. But this week, just because I'm in a good mood and you know, it's game weekend and people are here. And I want to give some shout outs to our Landed Night patrons. And they are Sir Julie Beth of Tarth, Sir Peadar the Irreverant, our pet Irish troll here on the channel, Sir Maura Lee of Starfall, and newly returning patron Sir Kraken Tacos, who I also saw in the chat earlier. So yeah, thanks to all our patrons for helping ease the burden of paying for streaming software and all that. Appreciate you all very, very much. I can't think of anything else we need to cram into the mid-roll other than, you know, we don't have a whole lot of things scheduled going forward on HBD, but I have a feeling Disney Plus is going to just keep giving us stuff to talk about.
Clone Wars season 3.
Okay. I see you, John. Hey, Mary, or not Mary. Bernie, welcome back. Glad to see you handled business. Got the airlock closed or whatever.
Can I make a small request? Can one of you guys highlight Lady Leaf's comment?
This one here?
Because it's perfect. The worst place to find me is on my own channel.
Them's just facts.
Absolute facts. I am everywhere else but my house.
Yeah, I do see you a lot of other places. But that's for the good.
Yeah, it's how AK rolls, man.
Oh.
Yeah. Just as Loki starts soon, doesn't it? I'm not sure when Loki starts, but I know that Falcon and Winter Soldier starts like
first.
And it's
coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like we'll get the finale of WandaVision, there'll be an off week, and then we'll get the beginning of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we might go down that road. We'll see.
We have what, like 2 more episodes of WandaVision left?
No, we've got like 4 still.
4? Okay.
No, it's 3.
I thought they were cutting it off.
All right. No, you're right.
Sorry. Is it 9?
Yeah.
9
okay.
It's 9.
Okay, we haven't finished the second batch. We've got 1 more to go. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be on for that one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. The Expanse, season 5. It was good, right?
I mean, it's okay.
It was okay, yeah.
Just okay.
Well, I mean, it's the middle child. You know, they've got another 3-season run, 4, 5, and 6. And the story, the plot line, it's like the middle child. So, I mean, it's got a lot of heavy lifting to do to get us to, you know, the end game. So that being considered, I mean, you got to give the season a little bit of, you know, credit for doing a lot of heavy lifting. You know,
well, I think it was incredibly character focused. And our characters were split up, and in that way, even though I'm upset about the way things, you know, turned out for Alex, in a way, it makes sense ultimately that with the characters split up, that when they come back together, they don't all make it back together. I think it adds weight to the fact that they were separated. So yeah.
I mean,
I think they all needed that separation to help them grow to the different, to help their journey along to, you know, really truly knowing themselves, especially where Amos was concerned.
I mean, that's
because like he had that line after talking with Peaches. He was like, "Yeah, okay, I need to get back to my crew. Like I need to go home because this ain't it."
Yeah.
And Holden being homesick also. Like he was on the Rossi, but he wasn't on the Rossi with his team.
Yeah, homie.
So you could see that affected him.
And
a
see,
lot.
actually, one of my few. Well, I mean, I say few. I have a couple of gripes with the season, but I'd say like my main one is that I enjoyed the dynamic so much between him, Bull, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Who's Monica? I wanted more of that than we got, because I thought it was really nice to see Holden with a different group of people. It changed up the dynamic a little bit, and we got to see some different edges to him. I still say like one of my favorite deliveries of the season was earlier on when he's checking his messages and Monica leaves him a message saying that, "Hold on, I haven't been completely honest with you," and he goes, "I'm shocked."
It's like my favorite meme now.
Yeah, that's a meme I've used a few times at this point. I've popped that GIF on a tweet or two.
Yeah, I could do without Bull, I think, but adding Monica to the crew, I think that could work out pretty well because she came in very useful in a few tight spots.
She's incredibly smart. I mean, she's a very detail-oriented person, I guess, in her line.
Lord knows they need that.
Well, she has the investigator's brain that nobody else does because she's a journalist. She's meant to dig for the truth.
Her and Naomi are like the smartest people on the show. I think. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, Bernie.
Even though it's not a female-oriented type of story, which is kind of, I think, why I haven't read the books yet, because I'm like, I don't know if this is the type of thing I'm going to get into. But I like that those two women are really the problem solvers.
The women are like the most badass characters on the show.
Except for Amos.
Everyone should have Amos on their team.
Yeah, I will never talk me off this Amos hill. I'm willing to die.
Sweet. It was so sweet when him and Naomi saw each other again. That was like
that hug, man.
That was really sweet.
I thought it still played in well to his character. And I love how Wes did it. Like he knew Amos was extremely happy to see her, and Naomi, she doesn't hold back when it comes to the fam. She jumped right into the hug, and while Amos still feels the same way, there's still that physicality in showing emotion that he still isn't really comfortable in his skin with. So it almost looks like he's hesitating. He's not. He just doesn't quite know how exactly to deal.
You know what I really
with that much at that time, and I love how Wes plays.
I'll tell you what I really liked about that moment was that because going back to the end of really the start of season 3, after Naomi had given Fred the protomolecule, there was distance between her and Amos, where Amos felt betrayed and he didn't completely trust her as he once did, and so he shifted his sort of conscience and allegiance over to Holden. And even though they've grown back from that, I never felt like there was sort of a moment where they acknowledged that they were kind of back to where they had been. And I felt like this reunion and the way they embraced and the way it said boss to her, and so it felt like an acknowledgement right there that their relationship had fully come back together.
Well, and it's one of those things like when he was down on Earth and then they took out that survival nut, he was talking with Clarissa about the idea that they were going to do this no matter who the guy ended up being. They just were able to feel better about it because it ended up that he was in fact an asshole. So like they were able to sort of live with their actions a lot easier because of that. But they're acknowledging that it didn't matter who he was going to die so they could take his stuff. And, you know, I really love the way you see Clarissa grow from that moment, even between then and the end of the episode. Like, she's like, no, we're taking everybody. But it's also from that point, Amos realizes this. I mean, he says it himself, and to get back to my crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
he notices that slide back into that, you know.
You watch him as he's leaving Earth. He's looking at it like he's looking at it for the last time. Like, okay, bye-bye. You know, like this.
Yeah, he's done with that. Question though, how do you guys feel about the Peaches situation and Clarissa joining the crew?
First of all, can I just say that that's a great scene? Oh my God, is that hilarious? And I think it's great. I think it's great just because of the dynamic between her and Amos. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna love watching it. Just the way, like you were just saying, Nessie, the way he goes back to her, he's like, "Come on, Peaches."
Yeah, come on.
Right. I'm not leaving you two alone just yet. You bring your ass over here. Let's go.
It's like, Dad.
I thought that was done so well.
Yeah, it was funny.
But when he's like, "Thank you for being cool about this."
Yeah,
like, I appreciate it. And Peaches starts trying to talk like, "Nope, come on, let's go."
It's seriously like
you're in the store, don't push your luck.
You know, or a teenager trying to talk to their parent, like do that little logic lawyering thing that they do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly what he did.
Before you can say anything, it's like, come on, you know, their friend's already there with the backpack to spend the weekend.
He's cool with it.
Yeah.
Also, what actually makes it work a little better for me, Clarissa's a pilot. Remember, she was on the race team with her sister way back when we first were introduced to them.
Yeah.
So and they do need a pilot now. I mean, anybody could pilot the ship, but they need someone with some skills.
You know, she's an engineer too because of the training she got on the
Yep. So I wouldn't mind her being there as a permanent fixture. And the way Amos sounded it sounded like it was going to be temporary. But I kind of hope that she does actually stay. I like her character.
She just stays. I popped this up earlier. Joe asked, "Do we think Monica is going to stay?"
I don't think she should stay on the ship. I want her to still be in the story, mind you, but not on the ship. Like she needs to roam. She likes to be in the thick of things and telling everyone's stories. Like I was telling Peter in the chat, she can't be in just one spot. I don't think she would be happy like that.
Well, no, and she's a journalist. Her place isn't. There's no reason really for her to say all of a sudden, "Oh, I'm gonna just join the crew." I don't think it really makes sense from a character point of view.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. I really enjoyed the way they expanded her character this season, but I don't know that there's a good reason for her to be there. Although I certainly hope she has something to do in season 6. She could work with Avasarala, and that would be awesome.
Oh yeah,
her and Bobby, Bobby being the Martian liaison now. I was kind of hoping Bobby would join the crew though, but I'm okay with her being where she is because she looks like she is very ready to actually be a Martian again. She looks like she's going to be happy in her role.
Yeah, it's really funny because I always kind of wanted Bobby to join up with the crew, but a large part of that was I also enjoyed the dynamic between her and Alex with them both being Martians and all that. So now it feels kind of like I'm okay with her going off and being part of the team with Avasarala. I feel like that's the fit for her. So.
That whole prom scene made me laugh though because I call it the prom scene at the end when they were at like the party. Like mingling, like it was so weird. I was like, these people, and they're like dressed up clothes. Like Holden, he doesn't wear a suit well. He had this thin neck. He looked like the suit was too big. He looked like he was wearing his dad's suit to church or something. I was like, oh, what is this? That was kind of weird to me, but I guess they had to. That might have been a reshoot. Even I don't even know what went on there, but it just it was so weird seeing them in civilian clothes and trying to act like life is normal.
Whole scene was way too happy. Like right there when I was watching it, I said some shit is about to pop off in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, everybody was way too happy.
Too comfortable.
Well, also I felt like I don't feel like that scene was a reshoot. I think there were edits done to it because they were all happy enough that it felt like a member of their crew had not just died.
Yeah.
And also like when Avasarala says to Bobby, "I'm sorry for your loss too." That line is said when her back is to the camera. So I think that was a voiceover line that they added in. So I know Bernie, you just said earlier in the Slack group that you thought they might have CGI'd Alex out of that scene. I think that's entirely possible.
I had all kinds of conspiracy theories in that thread.
You can even see there's an empty spot on the couch.
Yeah, there is.
Holden and Naomi.
Maybe that's why it seems weird to me. Like I felt like something was a little bit off, and maybe that's because there was somebody missing. Somebody who was saying lines wasn't there anymore. I mean, it would be very easy for them to scrub him right out of the scene, you know.
Or sitting over there, and Amos was sitting in the little table for two, by himself off to the side. But it was kind of like, Alex could have been sitting right there. Them catching up or what have you.
It was uncomfortable and overly happy somehow. I don't know what the deal was, but I mean, the message was good when she said, "Look at us, we're Belters, Martians, and Earthers here together, and this is how we're going to come through this, together and working together." So the message was good.
I mean, I think the scene works. It's just it's also me overanalyzing everything because we knew that there was, when Alex dies in the final episode, that's not a coincidence. So my mind automatically went to like watching all the editing and seeing how certain things were cut together and then when I went back, I saw like Bobby has a line earlier on where she says we could stroke out. That also is said when her face is not on camera. So ADR, you can see all these moments of ADR added throughout the episode in certain moments to sell, Alex's fate a bit more.
And I wasn't expecting it because there wasn't a lot of time between, season 5 was in the can and it was being released. They were the release date. And then all the shit went down in the guy's personal life. And then they didn't have much time to do all this. So I was shocked that it actually happened this season, but they got it done. And his death was just like, that was an oh my God moment, and there was the whole last episode was just like, I felt like I was going to stroke out, but it was still shocking. Like I wasn't expecting it. So I felt like that was a good thing about it. The way they did it,
I just feel
I definitely expected it.
I mean, I just kind of, I certainly don't feel bad for the actor, but I feel bad for the character because this wasn't really an Alex season. He had some stuff, especially earlier on, but if you were going to kill off the character, I don't feel like he had like real moments to shine this year. So
Annie Oakley is here. Hey, compadre. That fucking bar was crazy. It was like they had like country music, and it was like excuse me, I'm very sorry if it was country music, but it was Japanese or Chinese lyrics or some Asian. I was like, this place would trip me the fuck out if I walked in here.
It was kind of like, what it reminded me of, Bernie? It was kind of like, if anybody's been to one of those cheesy, like medieval times restaurants now, it's like the futuristic version of looking back at like an 80s country and western bar with the mechanical bull and what have you. So it's with kind of like the catchy kind of,
No, I did really like that when when Amos and Bobby are talking, like I think it's like a planet they were going to go to or something, and he says, I think they have a whatever that that bar was there, and she's like, I don't know how you can stand that place, and it's like you can just see her dreading it.
It's like a TGA Fridays of the solar system.
Compadre.
Bobby is still always in her military spirit, man. She'll let loose and have some fun, but sometimes they just be in some nonsense. You just see the look on her face, like, oh, these motherfuckers. It's always great seeing that. Steven, unless you have something else to go into, I have a question.
Oh, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Carmina and the family.
Okay.
Where do you guys think ultimately she is going to go?
Okay.
I would like to see her have a little mini fleet with the Rocinante, because there ain't really no place safe that they can go.
Yeah.
But that's just what your guys think.
Yeah, I don't see anything for her to do other than try to hook up with the Rossi crew and run with them. Or, the Rossi says they're not going to fly anybody's flag, but it's not a fight that they can stay out of. And I get where they're coming from. Drummer could go the same way. And I will say, like, we saw this coming. We know her. There's no way she's going to be able to sit on all this crap that Inaros was doing and not flip on him eventually. I really appreciated the way they kind of worked family drama into it. And yes, at the end, she did what she did, knowing that Serge was going to get killed for it.
Yeah.
But
there was
it's the trolley problem in a lot of ways. Do you let it run over 5 people, or do you throw the switch and let it kill one? And we know which one Drummer would do. She's very pragmatic. So, and I will also say, like, my 2 favorite people from her Polyam Belter fam are the ones that stayed with her. So
yeah,
she kept Joseph and Michio, and I'm just like, they were my favorites anyway. So
I thought it would have been reversed, like not them splitting, but it would be Carmina walking off by herself and leaving them, versus the other girl and the guy that tried to jump in and stop.
Oksana.
Oksana.
Yeah.
Although I really like her character, and I do understand why she ultimately made the decision to leave, but I think once you sit in that situation and you let some of the emotion of it go, you absolutely still have a lot of love there between the two. It wouldn't have hurt you so bad if you didn't really love her. So it's it just seems like a break that didn't need to happen, but I understand why it happened.
In the beginning of the season, I was like, the character Kara G, is that her real name in real life?
Yeah, Kargi.
Kargi, sorry. I was like, oh my God, she had some work done. And it was good work. Like, I'm not like shading anybody about whatever they want to do to themselves. But, some people look better than others when that gets done. And I was like, she looks really freaking good this season. And I found out, I think Potter and Slocks, I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry. Said that she was pregnant. Very pregnant. And that was a pregnancy glow is why she looks so good. She just had like a lot of fill in her face and everything. And I don't know how far along she was, but once I went back and watched, they kind of hit her behind things a lot.
Oh, they hit her belly like the whole season. Yeah. I remember in the after show, it was her and Keon that plays Marco. They were on the after show together, and they apparently were really good friends since before the Expanse. So they would mess with each other. Like Keon told a story at some scene they were doing, and she almost threw him off his lines because she stepped in just a half inch too close and like touched him with the baby belly. And his friend with the awesome baby that he already loves. And he's like, I think you could see it in my eyes where it was a bit of a sparkle and I almost lost the character, but I was able to pull it through. But that part was very hard.
So she was really pregnant then, like over 6 months trimester. Wow.
Yeah, I've seen some production stills, and she's very pregnant is the best way to put it, I guess.
Well, nothing beats Gal Gadot, you know, in Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman that, you know, she was pregnant. That blows my mind.
I forgot she was pregnant during that too. Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, no, she looked great. She was, I thought that she was a standout this season. Her acting is really good. And Naomi as well. I felt like she did a really good job too. I mean,
her facial,
yeah, her face acting is just always on point.
Yep,
flawless.
Like she couldn't be physical. She couldn't be, you know, drummer in the flight suit that we usually see with the, you know, it's like she was just acting from here up, you know.
Yeah.
And she was just bringing it, just all that emotion that would, you know, that came when she went and she drank that bottle of Scotch, I think it was.
Yeah,
Ashford's bottle.
Guzzled that.
That
was guzzling.
Yeah. And she
was like, "Oh, girl, I have been there.
Angry.
I have been there."
Yeah. She doesn't drink when she's sad. She only drinks when she's angry.
And she was hella pissed, boy. That scene where
she thought Naomi was dead.
What her wifey had to come in and literally put her hand over Kamina's and push her gun back down. Like, that's how you know everyone knows do not fuck with Drummer and her people, because she will automatically go for your head.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a thought. Yeah, Corral, again, she got away too easy. It's like Joffrey. He got off too easy. You deserve to be suffering more than that, because your whole ass attitude since I met your character pissed me the hell off. I don't like you. I think you were petty and you were super jealous about Naomi. You should have just handed Marco the draws. Maybe you ought to have had a shot.
But that actress did a good job too. She really, like, you really hated her. Like, she did good. I
mean, true, and that's what she was supposed to do. So the actress, but Corral still, I want to punch
piece of shit. Yeah.
I mean, at least you know Joffrey did suffer through all the choking and everything. It's like you know. She just got knocked out real quick and then it was over. It's like, no, that was not good enough.
Yeah, I was like, no, she deserved to have Carmina whoop her ass properly. Say look.
There was something else I wanted to bring up. Oh, John, you were talking about how much you love, sort of from a technical standpoint, that long one shot in episode 9. But I want to say I think the best shot in the whole season comes from the finale of Naomi running and jumping off the ship and watching it, you know, the camera sort of like stays equidistant from her as she runs through the hallway. She comes out and the ship immediately goes off because she's not got any more force being applied to her.
I didn't see why you say that, but that's very well done. But a lot of the stuff around her is gonna be like enhanced by CGI and stuff.
Sure.
There was so much practically done in that Amos shootout scene.
Understand, but from a pure visual spectacle, the running jump is my favorite shot. Don't get me wrong; that was probably 1,000 times easier to do than that long one shot of action sequences and everything.
Stuff like what they did in episode 9 just reminds me of, I always go back to, there's this astonishing tracking shot in the film Children of Men, which was shot by the cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki. And it's like, there's so much shit going on, like in the backgrounds and the foreground, and it just goes on for a really long time, and there's like blood on the lens and shit, and it's just, if anybody hasn't seen that movie, check it out. But yeah, I'm always very much impressed when they're able to pull off, you know, big epic long shots like that. Even if I suspect that there were probably some cheats in the shot, like when the camera like whips around real quick, it was probably a cut. But so long as they can sell it, it still counts, in my opinion. So
yeah, and even with those cheats, it's still several very long one-shot sequences all stitched together.
The way they
So,
did the saving of Naomi too was cool, though. It was from her perspective, so you really kind of felt it, like how.
Yeah, see, I was more impressed by that from a directorial standpoint than the shot of her jumping out. Was the way they handled her being rescued, because it stayed on her, and you like never see that with like a space rescue. I thought that was brilliant.
It wasn't the rescue that got for me. It was her being out there, and even though she's running out of air, and if you've ever been running out of air, it's very hard to keep your body moving and still try to, you know, hold on to what little air is in your lungs. She was putting those hand signals out for Alex to see for a good 2 minutes or so before they actually showed up, and he was able to see what she was saying. That was the impressive part to me. Again, Dominique Tipper, man, all the awards.
Yeah, and how the camera just stayed on her face as she's dying. You know,
the water actually leaking out of her eyes from her tears. Oh,
like her last words.
She's almost dying for the 16th time this season.
Yes. Right. And every time my heart was.
And I
like, where Alex, go and get my girl, damn it.
And I really thought it was great the way they build up to that moment, because, you know, especially in these, you know, last several episodes, you hear about, you know, the story about her going up to the airlock, and then they fake you out in episode 7 where she goes to the airlock again, making you think that she's, you know, jumping out to kill herself, which I never really believed, because Naomi, I always felt like Naomi hadn't reached that point yet, because she still cared about her family. But the point is that they kept building up to this until this moment where she really does, her last option, you know, is to make that jump, you know, with every expectation that she's probably, this is it, she's going to die. So I really like the fact that they layered that in the earlier episodes, and that's the big payoff in episode 10.
There was a lot of almost sacrificing themselves, like from, you know, the Rossi family, like willing to sacrifice themselves for others. Like that happened to pretty much everyone, you know?
Yeah, everybody got that. Even Holden. You know, he gets a lot of crap because he's just like, you know, Mr. Mashed Potato dude, you know, but he actually did a lot of growing this season, you know, by putting, so in season 2, he shows growth, like, you know, when he quits chasing the monster and he goes back to save the somnambulist, the people in the somnambulist, and Naomi in particular. And then it's like every time he's chasing the protomolecule or whatever, he's like, you know, focused on that. Like he's the only person that can do this. And now, so when, you know, the ship blows up, the Zamoya, I think it was, blows up. Okay, that's done. That chase is over. I got to go for my girl now. And he's just willing to give his life just to buy the other ship enough time to just a few more minutes to get to Naomi to save her.
And important
to get away.
An important point was made on the after show, which is that, however, he's the only one who probably would take the moment to think, wait a second, they're firing at each other now. We should wait a second, see what's going on, because everybody else would just go ahead.
No, let's help them. No, you don't know what they're doing.
He didn't push the button, y'all. This episode, he didn't push the button.
Yeah.
What is this, Lock?
He didn't pull Fargo, thank goodness.
Lost reference.
and it's no, because earlier in the season, it's when Fred, when Holden says, he's like, "What did you do?" And Holden says, "What? I pressed a button." And he goes, "That's really how you go through life." And then this episode,
let's see what happens.
Yeah, and so in this episode, he held back from doing that because he realizes that something else is going on. But that was just so brilliantly constructed. I love that it ends like, you know, the tempo throughout that scene is rising. And then when Drummer actually gets on the comm and says, Yeah, hold on. It's drummer. That's like, it's just such a big relief.
Like that relief.
Moment. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally agree.
Hey, y'all. Oh, sorry, Nessie. Go ahead.
No, fine. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're about 15 minutes from when we normally would end. I'm not trying to cut it off. We got 2 guests this week, so more people got more to say, and there's a lot to be said. But there is a question I want to ask before we get to the end, but it's more like looking forward to season 6. If there's something else to be said about season 5, something we haven't brought up yet, or just, if you want to say, damn, Dominique Tipper, you're freaking awesome one more time, you could do that too.
David, you are freaking awesome and sexy as hell.
The David Pastor whole thing reminded me of Battlestar Galactica when he became Secretary General. Like, just some oddball secretary was the only one left alive. That was very Battlestar Galactica.
Which I can't believe I was deceived into being hopeful for that guy, because of course he was in over his head
for him, almost, because he was smart enough to go get Avasarala and ask her opinion, and then he proceeded to not listen properly to her opinions. And what do you know? 5 minutes later, bro, you out. We ain't doing this fuck shit. We walking with her.
Yeah,
and we got our girl back in the spot where she should be.
It was really satisfying to watch her go from complete outcast to figuring it out to contacting Nancy Gao, and just those few minutes saving so many lives because of the repurposing of the satellites, to, as you say, with David Pastor, and then her being a member of his cabinet, being the first one to walk out of his cabinet, and being reinstated eventually as Secretary General. That's a hell of a turnaround for her in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Did you notice that one scene where, I don't know what episode it was, but she was sitting there. I think she was kind of mourning Arjun, and her. I think she might have said that her daughter was, and the kids were on their way. But they said, okay, you got to come now. And she starts putting her jewelry back on, and it's like her putting her armor on again. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm going to be tough again. This is all over with. And then she pushes her emotions aside. And
God, that beautiful garnet collar that she's wearing at the prom scene. That is freaking gorgeous.
Red is her color, man. I love it. And Queen of Earth.
It's a subdued red. Like, she's been in these vibrant red colors before, but in that scene, she's wearing like these more subdued red colors.
She's more mellow and wizened now.
Yeah, it's more toned down, like it's more of a somber red, if that makes sense. But it kind of like shows, yes, I'm wearing my red, I'm rocking my red, I'm still in mourning, kind of, in a way. Like, my light has dimmed.
And she finally puts his name in there. She finally decides to do it, closure.
I cried.
Yeah, I felt that one too.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what the quote says, but it's something to the effect of, if love transcends death, I'll look for you on the other side, or something like that. And what a beautiful sentiment, because clearly she loved him. And I think he loved her. It's just they were in a bad place, and it'd be like that sometimes. You don't always get to say goodbye.
A couple of weeks ago, when that episode aired, I remember thinking to myself, and just as as an aside, I don't think I really mean this, but I was thinking, can't help but feel I would be sadder if they hadn't changed the actor.
Yeah, it was what's his name? That guy, he was Dr. Bashir's dad and Raj's dad on Big Bang Theory. I second that, John.
Yeah.
I second that. He's a good actor.
I mean, we didn't even see him. We didn't even see him this entire season.
Yeah.
Nope. So that actually leads me to the question I wanted to ask about season 6. I'm not trying to go, what do you think is going to happen? My actual question is this: is there someone that we haven't seen in a while that you would really like to come back? for season 6.
Jared
Dawes.
Harris.
Dawes. Yeah, Jared
Dawes.
Harris.
Yeah.
Dawes
Okay.
and the botanist.
Okay, Prax.
Yeah.
Dawn.
Yeah,
Anna.
I really like
I
Prax.
think
Anna.
that was mine. That's mine. Is Anna.
And Anna, yeah, I've been wondering what the hell happened to her. Like, is she,
I mean,
is
you
she
think,
somewhere
you know,
on Illis or just floating around in space to get back
No,
to her
Anna
living
is
kid?
probably on Earth and probably giving all the medical aid she can to refugees right now. But like, I would love to see
She better be doing that by her house, though.
Yes.
Like that bothered me so much. We never got to see where if she made it back home to White Beach.
I feel like
That scares me.
I feel like what the show has kind of done since the beginning is we follow our characters and then we kind of leave behind every sort of place and the people that we're not focusing on anymore. Like, you know, the show is so heavily focused a lot of the time on series in the beginning of the show. And then as soon as Miller leaves, we haven't been back to series at any point. We haven't seen it, and I feel it's the same way with characters. They kind of, you know, drift away as soon as our characters move on in a different direction. But I really would like to see some of those characters return, you know, since this is going to be the final season.
Yeah,
and especially Dawes. We need Dawes back
can't just
in some way.
disappear like that, bro. Especially with Fred gone now.
He's a lot of money, though.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, and he is off doing other things right now. Yeah,
he's not making a lot of money. But yeah,
it's like you can spare a couple days to shoot some scenes, dude.
I hope so. I really hope. I love Jared Harris so much and everything he does. So
he's great.
Yeah, but LV would be a great comeback.
Yeah, sure.
Like proto-molecule science stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely one to pull in. Yeah.
She is like one of the few people that has some sort of like direct first-hand knowledge of some of the crazier things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's the only person living that's experienced that. Whatever, I think Potter called them the Goths or what have you.
That whole thing, yeah, with
that anti-proto-molecule, the angry gods.
The angry red mist.
Yeah, so she's got to come back in season 6.
I would do for her joining the Rossi crew too. Like they legit could use her heavily this season with the upcoming season.
It's so crazy to think that, you know, those two entities are fighting each other, and Holden says a line like, those angry entities killed out the builders in an instant. Like, so they're not biological. They're like, they're not like us. You know what I mean? So, but they figured us out, I guess.
They're way beyond us, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
like,
so
we're running around like little punk-ass kids to them.
I'm just like, yeah, so who knows where the hell we're going to go. Should be fun.
I will say I want to, you know, say one thing about this season that we talked about last year when we were covering the finale of season 4, which was, I think, Stephen, you and I were talking about whether they were going to find another way to bring Miller back, because it seemed like they kept bringing him back, and I kept saying like it felt like a proper end to his story, and I was really satisfied with that, and I hoped, you know, they weren't going to do the thing like, you know, on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where they kept bringing back this one character like with like different, you know, aliens like embodying his body or some shit like that. So I was really happy that even though I love the character of Miller, I was rather satisfied that we didn't see him at any point during this season, because I think they left him off in a really good place in season 4. Who knows what they'll do
behind the scenes.
Like I don't know what they'll do for the final season, because, you know, who knows, but I was happy that they kind of respected his role in the series and left it where it was.
Yeah, he only came back to direct an episode this season.
Yeah. Which, by the way, wasn't he such a riot in that?
Yeah,
and that after
he's on one. Yeah, so he directed episode 3 of this season, and he is in the episode 3 after show with Wes Chatham and Ty Frank, and the man is gold. The man is gold.
Yeah, he is.
Which actually, I'm really excited now that they're going back to do all the episodes with that, after show. I'm really looking for. I'm sure they'll bring him back.
I'm looking forward to what guests they pull on.
Yeah, because Miller is such a big part of in the early seasons, especially. So I'm hopeful to see him come back for that, and who else they get. Be a lot of fun.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And how?
So let me put this out there. Speak now or forever hold your peace. We're not going to be talking the Expanse again for a little while, I think. We've done a lot of character videos. I don't know, but there's a lot of other Expanse for us to talk about before, say, season 6 starts rolling around. So if you've got thoughts, they don't have to be about the end of season 5. They don't have to be about season 5. Let's take this chance to say what we want to say. Amos and Peaches, I do not ship it. I love their friendship, but I don't want a romance between them.
No, not at all. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, their friendship is all that's needed. We don't need the extra.
Yeah. I think they're past that. I have my best friend is a man, and everyone's always like, "Oh, I know that you must be fucking, or you guys must have fucked, or you must have." I'm like, "No, we're way past that." Like, so that's what I hope is the same for them. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that society subscribes to that a man and woman can't just be platonic, really good friends.
Right.
You don't have to be boning to be friends with somebody.
I think it's Amos's way of kind of paying it forward.
Mm-hmm.
He was pulled out of a dark place, by his relationship with Naomi, and she set him on like a different kind of path. And that's kind of what he was for Clarissa.
That's
when he was heading to prison, he was being decent to her, and during the whole trip, their friendship kind of formed, because he's like, if they knew half the shit I did, I'd probably be going to the pit with her, and it's like, there but by the grace of God go I. And then her repeating back to him when they finally meet, all those little those things that he said to her were like little mantras that she kept herself saying while she's in the pit, that for all those months and months and months that they're just she's in a chair unless she's doped up out of her mind, or she gets like an hour to walk around. I don't think she ever got to see any sun or light or anything. It's just like out in the cement quad, it's just those mantras. So it's those little voices like Lydia that he would hear from Lydia in his mind, and things that Naomi and things that he's learned, he's passing it on. So that friendship to me is more like, like I said, like Amos paying it forward and helping somebody else out along the way who's, really needed someone, just someone to, give a shit about them.
See, I have to say, while I don't want anything more from that relationship, I want it to remain just a platonic friendship. I also don't necessarily think I can guarantee that Amos would say no, because he.
But they're different.
Because
he wouldn't say no. He wouldn't say no.
It's the line when he was talking about Naomi, where he's like, "Oh, don't get me wrong, I'd do her if she'd let me." But no, as far as ships with Amos, it's got to be Avasarala.
I was gonna say I'm not shipping anybody with Amos, but yeah, that checks out.
that checks all the boxes right there.
Hashtag Christmas.
Christmas.
I love it.
Merry Christmas. I don't ship anyone on the show. It's just not that type of show. I love romance. Don't get me wrong. Look at Bridgerton. Look at how successful that is. There is a place for romance, like some people like it, but this show, I don't want, there's obviously no time for it. First of all, we have Holden and Naomi, and that's good enough for me. Like, other than that, leave it out.
I like fan fiction too much, so I can't not ship things.
Yeah.
You know, my ship. I know
it's my romantic heart. Like, give me what I really what I really want is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I really, Naomi and Drummer is a hope.
That's me right there. That is my OTP right there.
Yeah, that I would take too. But other than that, nah. I would for a while. I was like, oh, Bobby and Alex, but obviously that's over now. But a few years ago, that was a ship that I kind of had.
Bobby.
I mean, it's fine. People like what they like. Ship who you do and don't want. If you want to ship Amos with Clarissa, that's fine. You're not hurting me, but I don't ship it.
Nope.
No.
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 My ships for that show are Drummer and Naomi and Amos and Avasarala.
Yeah, I can get with that. Those two.
I could find somebody to put Bobby with, but
but it's only a one-night stand for Amos and Avasarala. Like they just need to, get it out of their system.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Really? Oh wow.
It's Avasarala. I don't think he would be just a one time hit it and quit.
I don't know. They both seem pretty independent.
Oh, true. No, I'm not saying that they're gonna have to be, up under each other the whole time.
Oh, no.
This can be a long distance relationship, and we check in, once every couple months.
I mean, I could see, Amos being like Avasarala's dirty little sock that she has underneath, that dirty little sock.
I care about that. We already know you wouldn't care about being that.
Being in
that sock, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, whenever the Rockies in port,
You're not the only one, Anna. Like, I don't ship them, but there are people that do.
I'm sorry, I got to point this out. Lady Leaf getting meta here. Clarissa only goes with waffles.
Ass waffle.
Yeah. It's the peach waffle thing. Yeah, I love. Thank you, Leaf. Really appreciate that.
That makes me think of Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, I would.
When you think of your ships, do you think pancakes or waffles? Pancakes is basically you're just going to be friends. Waffles.
Yeah,
that's got some crevices.
Yeah, they got things to like. Never mind. Waffles.
Yeah. Let's not go on that tangent. so many dirty places that could go.
Anyway, guys, listen. I gotta run. I got somebody stopping by. My ex-husband.
You wanted to drop a rock from you on orbit?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Anyway, but I love you all. Love the show. Thanks for having me.
Bernie.
It's always a pleasure to have you. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right. Keep the chat going.
We will.
Bernie just jumping out an airlock like a pro.
Yeah. I'm sure she's out there right now.
Yep, giving all the signs.
Yeah. Anyway, last call, everyone.
This was a hell of a season. That was a hell of a finale. Like Alex said, it was one hell of a ride.
Where does it rank as far as like favorite, second favorite? Because I personally think, I still think season 3 is my top, but season 5 is easily taking the number 2 spot, and it's fine. And upon reflection down the road, it might take the top spot eventually. But it was extremely good.
I definitely liked it better.
Think about that.
I liked it better than season 4. I will say that. I liked 5 better than 4.
No, I'd probably still rank 4 above it personally. I actually think from an execution standpoint, I think it was probably some of their strongest work. But it was also really sad at many points throughout. So I can't say it was the most enjoyable season for me. So I think I would rank 4 above it. And naturally, I think my favorite season is still season 2. Just because of I really loved the Bobby stuff that year. I thought that was really strong. So yeah, probably I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but technically, as far as what they were able to achieve, I think it is some of their strongest work. I don't know if I raise it above season 4 in that regard, because I really loved last season. I know some people weren't as impressed, but I certainly loved the heck out of it. So I don't know, fantastic work all around. I'm not complaining about it, except for some of the execution of the final episode, which was outside of their control. So
right.
Yeah.
Understand.
How about you, AK? Where's this rank for you overall?
I think I'm gonna say around probably spot 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think season 2 is probably my number 1.
Okay. We can't even between the three of us agree on which season is the best.
Bobby. The rest of them kind of just fall into place.
They're all great
for me.
It's like,
they're all great, but I think like season 2 and season 5 are the ones that really stand out in my mind for heavy impact.
And of course,
but everything else is cool. That doesn't mean I hate anything else.
For sure. And of course, another reason why I have to go with season 2 as my favorite is because it has the episode Home, which is the Miller episode. And so that automatically is always going to, have the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Yeah. How about you, Nessie?
Well, I mean, of all, okay, I've been screaming that this woman deserves an award. Dominic Tipper deserves an award for her acting this season. I mean, I haven't screamed this for any of the other actors in any of the other seasons. So that kind of is on its own little level by itself. Okay. Her acting in this season is award worthy and she should get it. Now, as far as the story goes, my favorite, I'm probably, I've loved all of them. I would have to probably 3. I think season 3 is probably my favorite. It was like their swan song, in a way. So they put the actors, like, they poured their heart and their soul into it. They were trying to tell as much of the story as they could, knowing nothing, and it does a lot of heavy lifting. It just carries a lot of the story forward and gives such a satisfactory conclusion that they could have left it right there and we would have been like, I wish there was more, but this was great, So yeah, I'd have to go with still season 3 as probably my favorite. I mean, the best.
Season 3 solidarity.
Yeah.
And
XO agree, you guys have been overruled. We're pulling rank on you.
Well, no, I do want to say, speaking of season 3 as well as season 4, which, it takes place as probably, if I'm differentiating between favorite and like sort of the most impressive, I'd kind of put season 4 there. But speaking of that and season 3, I wanted to really heap a lot of praise upon David Strathairn, who played Ashford.
Yeah. Ashford's my man. Yeah.
Like, I mean, what a performance from that guy. And it was, going back to season 3, what he crafted through, which could have very easily been a traditional villain, without much dimension to him. He crafted one of the most fascinating characters of the show. And I really love that this season, relied so much on his final act. And, I said this on one of the previous streams that it kind of felt for me like that Ned Stark moment in Baylor, where he's able at the end to, save Arya by pointing her out to the Night's Watchman Yoren. And so I kind of feel like in a way he was able to get that transmission out, and he did a lot of good, even though he was facing his death. So
millions and millions and millions of lives were saved.
He was the right amount of smartass and wise old man mixed together, and he played every line just so perfectly. And I loved that the chemistry between him and Drummer, they made that shit work.
When they're caught together in that machinery in season 3, that scene between them, and when he's singing in that scene, and
that whole exchange,
so good.
The space shanty, I love it.
I was sick and nigh to death till he go. Anyway, that
I get the feels.
Yeah,
always, man.
Yeah, it's really great how diverse this show is in its characterizations and in its sort of relationships. It's so smart and it's so forward thinking. You love to see it. And
like the action's cool, but it's the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the people that make it work. And I love how they bring like real world dynamics in as not being a big deal that far in the future. Because really it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be now. But then when we're fucking around living in space, yeah, you really can't have these little petty issues that humans have right now. You know, Drummer's got the awesome poly ship going down. You know, it doesn't matter that this prominent character has a wife and a child, and she's also a woman. You know, it's great. You know, there's all types of mixings, like the freaking Mars with the Chinese cowboys. You know, all that nonsense that's going on. I say nonsense. It's not nonsense. I'm just saying that's a crazy collaboration of things to put into one mixed culture, and I love it. I think it's freaking perfect, and I love how this show does all of that.
Hard agree.
Yep.
So, anything else? Question mark?
It's going to be forever until season 6 comes out.
No.
Let's not think about it. Let's not think about it. No.
But,
like, I want it tomorrow.
Yeah, seriously, I would take more right now.
Yeah. I think they've already started filming, though.
But see, this is why I also and it's unfair of me to say this while she's not here anymore. But Bernie did say that she prefers the binging format of everything dropping at once. But this is what I liked about the way they did it this year, because I got to enjoy this show over a span of weeks versus a weekend.
Just a quick burst, yeah.
Yeah. So I was really thankful for that, and I like that. So.
Yeah, doing it weekly gives us the opportunity to have conversations like this. And I love these streams that we do. So I kind of want that format to continue myself.
I see LD in the house back there.
Yep.
Okay, y'all. Well, given that we don't really have any other things to talk about, I guess we'll move to the end where I say, hey, thanks for coming. If you haven't hit the like and the subscribe button yet, you could do that. I'd appreciate it. Come back next week where Nessie will not be here, but we will be joined by a fellow John will, of course. John's always here. Well, hashtag, asterisk always. But we're also going to be joined by Kelly, the Jaded Redhead. And we're not talking about boats. We're talking about WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be covering.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, kind of. When you say her name, it's synonymous with boats. So you will.
Like, she is our resident nautical nerd, but she's also a big-time X-Men fan. And so we'll be talking about WandaVision next Sunday. John, what you got coming up next weekend?
Okay, so next week, Aemy and I will be joined by Jolie, and we'll be talking about the film Selma. That's on Saturday at 7 p.m. And then the weekend after that, we'll be tackling the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, and we'll be joined by this lovely person right here. I pointed in the right direction. How about that? So, yeah, tune in for that. We're going to have a blast.
Right on, right on. Nessie?
Yep, this Wednesday we're at 2:00. We're going to bleep the patriarchy again. Second episode. Got Aemy is bleep it, y'all. Yeah, Aemy will be joining me for the series, and our guest is going to be Lo the Lynx. So that's going to be an excellent episode. Going to record that evening with Learn Hands Pod. That's going to be showing on, it's going to be on their podcast. We're talking about law and the Expanse. Of course. I mean, I guess there's laws. We'll find out. We'll talk about it.
No, there's no laws on series, just cops.
Yeah. So, and then we're going to return to the Magical Menagerie on the 24th, discussing the Phoenix. The Phoenix rises, yes, from the ashes. And yeah, lots of stuff coming up.
Nice. And AK, I know you're going to be talking with J-Dubs soon over there on J-Dubs Wolf.
Joe Wolf as Aemy.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I will definitely be over there in a couple weeks, and it's going to be great. I have besides that none of the things, so don't look for me on my channel. But I'll be everywhere else pretty much.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll have you back over here soon too. You know, you are a recurring guest star on HBD, and we're always happy to have you.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, I'm always happy to chill.
AK contacted me yesterday, and she's like, I need this. I need to come on and talk about this show.
Like there are things in my brain.
I'm like, you know what? You don't have to twist my arm that hard. I did tell her, like, hey, I've already got a couple people lined up. Let me think about it. And then like 3 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm done thinking about it. You're coming.
Yeah. Half the time Steven has me on the Expanse talks. It's never planned.
Yeah,
I'm just always in my fan fiction head, and I'm like, wait, is this gonna happen? Is that gonna happen? Steven!
I know you're talking about this show. You gotta let me know.
Like, bro, I got thoughts, and he's usually like, all right, bitch, come on. So yeah, that's basically how it happens.
So anyway, y'all, this was a great stream. I had a blast as always. John, Nessie, thanks so much for being great co-hosts. AK, a pleasure as always.
Always. Right back at you, brother.
LD, I tolerate you pretty well. To everyone in the chat, it's a real joy to see you guys every week. And you know what it is, everyone. Until next time, peace and be excellent.